Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Erica. I know I haven't been very active on this channel this month. It's because I've been doing a lot of stuff. I went to California again for a movie premiere, which was really exciting, and I also took a 2-week intensive acting class, so I was doing a lot of stuff. But today I wanted to talk about Elvis Presley, which may seem weird, but I watched the movie Elvis with Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. Now, that was a terrible movie, I'm gonna say off the bat. But it got me doing some research into Elvis because he was a very problematic person, but a very interesting person at the same time. And I came across some articles that speculated that Elvis had a condition called Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. Now, if you don't know what Ehlers Danlos Syndrome is it's a chronic illness that has to do with connective tissues, and it could affect your whole body, or it might not, depending on you as a person. But I wanted to talk about this because I think it's dangerous to speculate on other people's health. And not just dangerous, I don't think it gets us anywhere. A lot of people want to believe that there was something deeper going on because, and I don't know if I'm gonna people to say this on YouTube, but because drug addiction is so stigmatized in our society that we want to think, oh, he had chronic pain, that's why he did this. And that might be the case, and if it is, that's okay. But none of us know. We're all speculating, going based on other people's accounts. Maybe he didn't have chronic pain. Maybe he didn't have Ehlers Danlos. Maybe he just got addicted to drugs. And why can that not be enough for people? We really need to destigmatize drug addiction. But also, people think it's helping to spread awareness about Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, which I don't see how. Elvis isn't here. Ehlers Danlos was not something that was diagnosed during his lifetime, even though it still existed, obviously. Just because we're starting to diagnose something now doesn't mean it didn't exist in the past. But it wasn't something that would have been diagnosed during his time. And we're not exactly going to exhume his body, or at least I hope we're not going to exhume his body to test to see if he has Ehlers Danlos, because that doesn't help him in any way, or even help people with Ehlers Danlos. A lot of disabled people I've seen on Reddit and even on Instagram, I've seen disabled people wanting to think that this icon was disabled. First of all, it's like, I wouldn't really want a very problematic man to represent my community, but even if he was disabled, like, that doesn't change anything about him. He still allegedly groomed his wife Priscilla, and a lot of people claim he was abusive. Now I know it's been disputed, and I don't know. I never met Elvis. Even if I did, I wasn't close to him, but I never met him. He died long before I was born. But I think a lot of times we want something to be true, to explain something. We want to be like, oh, he swiveled his hips so he was hypermobile. When it's like, I don't think swiveling your hips makes you hypermobile. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I could be wrong about that, but I think a lot of people can swivel their hips like that and they don't necessarily have hypermobility, or even if they do, they don't have Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. I think it's bad to speculate on people's health conditions, and that should go without saying. Health is a very personal thing to everybody. Even if I do think Elvis was deeply problematic and caused harm during his life, he still deserved privacy even posthumously. Elvis's death has been sensationalized so much. The rumors about him being on the toilet, which they're not rumors, I believe it is true. He was found in the bathroom. The rumors that he ate so much and was so unhealthy, and that's why he died. The rumors that it was drugs, the rumors that he died of constipation. There's so many conflicting accounts of this man's death. But it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change that he died. It doesn't help him in any way. It's just kind of awful to think about. Dying is one of the most vulnerable things, but it's something we all go through. I think that's a really tough thing as a person to come to terms with, and that's why a lot of us are more morbidly fascinated by it. But there are so many books about Elvis's death and movies But what is it accomplishing besides feeding into our morbid fascination? Him having Ehlers Danlos or not having Ehlers Danlos doesn't destigmatize the disorder. I'm sorry, I know that may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think him having it and people knowing that he had it would destigmatize it in any way. When Elvis Presley, even when he was alive, at points in his life, he was the laughing stock of the nation. People made fun of his weight. They made fun of how much he ate, how he danced. Even if I don't think he was a great person, it's still really shitty that he had to go through that and be body shamed for something that may not have been in his control. And even if it was, it doesn't matter. Our body size and our body shape should not be available for public opinion. You don't get to have an opinion on my body. I exist in a body like everybody else. Celebrities are no different than the rest of us. Well, obviously there are major differences, but not in the fact that he had a body and bodies change over time, and there are things about our body that we can control, but there are also things about our bodies that we can't control. And no matter what, you shouldn't shame the way somebody's body looks or the way it functions. I know this was a quick video. I didn't put in a lot of this is the article, because to me the articles are garbage. It's a bunch, some of them are doctors and scientists speculating, which, even if you are a doctor or a scientist, it's kind of problematic to be speculating on this. But then other times it's disabled people speculating, which is equally as problematic. I know people are doing it because they want to feel less alone, but no. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you learned something, please give this a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you'd like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.